South Trinidad and Tobago, the Progressive Empowerment Party is here. They say there's a one-man party. All you see that crew, this is just the south piece of the PEP. All you see that crew? PNM say we's a UNC party, UNC say we's a PNM party. We want to send a message to both of those bandit parties. The writing is on the wall. Judgment coming. All through history, evil was allowed to prosper for a time. For a time. To the owners and operators of the PNM and the UNC, the days of your glorifying yourselves at the expense of the people of Trinidad and Tobago is coming to an end. Nothing in this country works. Nothing. And we, the Progressive Empowerment Party, are here to tell you that everything could fix. When you send your children to school, unless your name is Sabga, Hadid, and Aboud, when you send your children to school, you're wasting 10 years of their life. If they're lucky and they have everything they need and don't need the teacher, if you have a motivated child, regardless of what school you drop them in, they're going to find a way to make it. But the average child that's looking for guidance in our education system have none to get. Unless you're in a prestige school. I want to know, if we're spending $5,000 million every year on education, why every school in this country can't be a prestige school? Let me explain you how our education system is supposed to work. And they all know, each and every one of them know. But even school and education is corruption, kickback, and racket in this country. Even education in this country. The school book situation in this country. Kickback, racket. The Education Facilities Company Limited. If you were to forensically audit it, you would jail ministers from this country. And the people of Trinidad and Tobago need to understand that where we are as a country is as a direct result of what we've tolerated for the last 56 years. The SCA that replaced the child abusing common entrance is a child abusing exam. The SEA abuses the children, abuses the parents, abuses the family. It abuses the trust of a country. The SCA and the common entrance it replaced was created when there were insufficient places in schools for all the children. 20,000 children do SCA every year. We have 20,000 places. We don't need a race anymore to see who finished first. We need a race to see how we can get all schools to finish best. And that should be the job and the responsibility of the Ministry of Education. But we keep putting non-performers and idiots in that role. The Progressive Empowerment Party says to you in quick time, we will abolish the SCA. We will make all schools 10-year schools. We will zone the school because we are betting that no school, nowhere in this country will be better than the other. Every child will be given a GPA, a grade point average, where that child's performance will be measured against itself last term. But the collective GPA of the class becomes the teacher's GPA, and all the teachers' GPAs become the principal's GPA. And that is how you measure the performance of a school. And that's how you measure the performance of a child. If every single child in this country had a GPA, failing children would be able to be identified at the end of the term. How? How would you do that? If the national average set for the curriculum is 4.0, all the children in the class, their performance at the end of the year, averaged and total, would tell you what the class's performance was, what the teacher's performance was. At the end of the term, all the schools that missed that average, and in all those schools, all the classes that missed that average, you would be able to identify who are the failing teachers and who are the failing students. And students fail, not necessarily because they cannot learn, but because there are impediments to knowledge. And teachers will tell you that. There are discipline issues in the home that affects a child's ability to go home and remember and recall and learn and do their homework. If you talk to the average school teacher, they will tell you that all the teaching I teaching in the classroom, if the child going home to a dysfunctional home situation, if they're not getting food, if they're exposed to violence and madness in the home, it makes it difficult for them to retain what they've learned. There's a disadvantage. There are children in our society who go undiagnosed with dyslexia and other learning disabilities. And we have no way to track them now. What we do? We allow them to fail. You go to the bunch that fail and check and see if you don't find children that needed help. And we are a signatory to the UNICEF, United Nations Rights of a Child. And one of those is a right to a proper education. We have failed generations of children. People looking at crime and talking about crime, but failing to understand that 7,000 children on average every year fail out of the system. They either don't graduate at all, or they finish school with no passes. You need 3 CXC to pack a dinner box in KFC. If you have no passes, what feeding you? What feeding you? If you release 7,000 people into the country every year that have no hope of earning an income except for charity and hustle, somebody tell me that is where we mason and carpenter does come from. No, sir. Masonry and carpentry and all the trades should be treated with respect. We should have an education system that is capable of identifying what people are predisposed to do. Because we have a lot of people in this country out there in that trade, plumbers, carpenters, masons, electricians, that learn on a hustle, learn as an intern or an apprentice with somebody, and still taking home a laborer's salary where they are grade A welder and they don't know. They don't know. Because they've never been given an education or the ability to check to see what level you at now. Harry Hunt, who was up here tonight, one of the founders of the PEP, Harry's pet peeve is something called spatial planning. Spatial planning, properly done, would prevent 200,000 people have to come into Port of Spain every morning and out of Port of Spain every evening. The Progressive Empowerment Party tells you immediately, decentralize, automate, digitize, move it out of the city. Port of Spain doesn't have to have every single office of state. You could put offices of state in San Fernando so the people of South could work where they live. 200,000+ people every morning. We have raised generations in traffic. 3 hours going, 3 hours coming back. We've raised generations in traffic. And whether you love him or you hate him, give Patrick Manning the credit for the that he did when he built the government campus in Port of Spain, when all of that money could have spent to build it in the center of the island, make it equidistant to everybody and end the madness of the traffic. You can't continue to put everything in Port of Spain and don't expect there to be traffic. Spatial planning is a science. And these are just simple issues that are real solutions to the problems that plague the average person. You talk to people and they don't believe you. It's hard to believe, who is this man? Who is this man? Why would I believe him? Why would I believe you, Philip Edward Alexander? Why would I believe a single word you say when Eric rape we, George rape we, Robbie rape we, Pandey rape we, Manning rape we, Kamala rape we, and look, Rowley, what you doing? This one I even bring grease. Why would we trust you? Our experience in this country is everybody who's ever stood up and offered themselves for public office have had ulterior motives. Corrupt ulterior motives. Ulterior motives to create problems and solve them, not to the benefit of the people, but to the benefit of their finances. We do not have a drainage system. We do not have a water distribution system. Our road network is a mess. Our hospitals is an insult to public health. We don't grow food. There is no public office of state that you could. You ever notice on social media, every now and then somebody say, I went to get my license and I get in an hour, boy, good job. Trinidad and Tobago tripped over itself and made Super Gary out of Gary Griffith for simply doing his job. That's what he did. He didn't do nothing special. But we've had decades of police commissioners who didn't do the job. So the first one that come along and actually lock people up, hey, Super Gary. And I ask, why is it so difficult to get a super minister of education and a super public health ministry? Why can't we have all of these things addressed? And I'll tell you why. Because we take a $60 billion budget reading every year in that parliament, surrounded by 41 people who are elected not to serve you, but to serve the people who own those parties. And 41 people sit in that parliament and listen to a budget read $60 billion. Ayes have it, aye. They break for tea. But nobody understands what went on in this budget. Nobody accounts for what happened in the last budget. And nobody knows what's going on in the country. And there's nobody to turn to. I live in a country where no constituency could say, we get water 24/7. Nobody. There are people living in Maraval next to the reservoir don't get water. Think it through. This is not a black thing. This is not an Indian thing. It's not a Syrian or a white or a Chinese thing. This is everybody suffering. And the day we understand and the day it dawns on us that there are more of us than them. What is wrong in this country is us. And the moment we get it, because I look around at this room and the people across the road, and I know at some point there are going to be 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 people at rallies like this. If not now, when the food run out, and water cannons and rubber bullets is we normal now, we go be there. We there with you, Philip. Child belly swell up, I eat food for 3 days. My mother have diabetes, I can't get nothing. We don't have US and them bringing nothing in. I know people, you know people who died from cancer who didn't have to die. But we don't have the foreign exchange to bring in the cancer drugs. But the 1% shelves falling over with goods. A man bring down millions of dollars worth of fireworks every year. We can't get medicine, but you could get fireworks. Where that foreign exchange coming from? We the people of Trinidad and Tobago, we either get this message now, because if we don't join and end this racist nonsense, and come together as one people. It's 5 people create the PNM, you know. 5. 6 of them create the COP. It's Bastio Pandey and Humphrey. What's Humphrey's first name? John Humphrey. Bastio Pandey, John Humphrey, and Trevor Sudama come out the NAR and form the United Nations. They form Club 88. 3 people. 3 people. Can I get called Trevor Sudama up on the stage now? And he could tell you the history of what is the UNC. We have more people here present tonight than the PNM was able to pull in a meeting in the first year. This is the seed of something powerful. And we, the people, we, all of us, need to own this. It's not about me. It's about us. And the day we get it, the day we really get that this is our country and that the well-being of each of us is the reason government has a job, the day we understand in our being that Rowley's job is one thing, to serve us, we will fix Trinidad and Tobago. I listen to a prime minister say, wean yourself off government. And I say, that's your job. Roads, lights, water, hospital, school, jobs, the economy, foreign exchange, housing. That's your job. And if you can't do the job, fire yourself. It is time we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, took control of what passes for government. Stop voting charlatans. Stop voting skin color and religion and race or what color you look good in. Start voting for servants, public servants. Their job is to make sure your life better. And if they can't do the job, fire them every time. That is the purpose, the reason, and the message of the Progressive Empowerment Party. And I ask each and every one of you tonight to go home and evangelize and tell people, together we can take back and build back our country, Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you.